hope I'm live. I live in hope I'm live. I can even see the chat at the moment. Let me do live chat and then I can see everybody's chat. So I can even chat from there. Oh, it's amazing.
You're live.
I'm live. Good grief. It's a miracle. It's a miracle. Trust me on that. Hello, everybody. Oh, we have got Pandemonium. Was Pandemonium first? Because Pandemonium's saying Kimmy, so I think my chat's going mental. Never mind. If Pandemonium's saying hello to Kim, Kim's there, so hello to Kim. Hello, Jamie. And hello, Renee. Who else have we got? We have Graham. We have Paul. Hello. Who else have we got in here? Oh, they're all chatting happily. Right, so, that's good at the moment. I'm about to not be able to see the chat, but, you know, it's all got to be grand, hasn't it? So, hopefully, all of this will transition and you will not see a thing. It'll all be marvellous. We'll soon find out. Anyway, we are starting with a special announcement. So, 20 seconds from now, Mike will be able to tell me if the slides are moving. They're moving here, but that doesn't mean they're moving where you are. It's been a heck of a month, hasn't it, Mike?
It certainly has.
So fingers crossed. Awesome. Right, we're good to rock and roll. Right, we have a special announcement. Do you remember the last time we said that, Mike?
Renee's asking if there's sound.
There certainly is,
There
and Mike can
certainly
hear
is.
it. Yes. Renee, turn your headphones on. Why am I saying that? He won't hear me.
Exactly.
Never mind. Mike will type it in. No, so I was saying, remember the last time we said we had a special announcement? Ladies' night and everyone thought we got married.
Oh, yeah.
And it was far more important than that, but never mind. Right, this is the special announcement. We are testing a completely new way of live streaming. New software always means several dozen ways to trip yourself up. So if things aren't quite as smooth as previously, cut us some slack. It's not done to deliberately annoy you, no matter what you might think. If we crash and burn, it'll be back to the drawing board.
And we'll see you next week.
And we'll see you next week. So we've said that now, just in case. How's Renee? Has he got sound?
He's got sound.
Excellent.
Operator error.
Operator error. Don't panic me like that, Renee. So we are testing. But here is what we have got planned. The week at MacBites headquarters. What a week it was. Then we have something called...
He had it muted.
Oh,
Operator
Renee.
error.
Renee. Oh, the shame.
It's been a while.
Yeah, but muted. Never mind. Right, we have a little section called Destiny Calling. You may ponder. Then we've got file management and the magic of the black hole. Kim likes the black hole, so that one should be good. Then we've got improving comments in PowerPoint. We know that I was, a Keynote aficionado for many years, but I now use PowerPoint. Keynote at my slides. It wasn't me, it was Keynote. So I moved. But comments are a bit tricky in presentations, and I will explain why. Then we've got TwistedWave Transcription. Now there's a demo that will probably end in complete disaster. You know, with everything this machine is already doing, and then asking it to transcribe text, audio live. Well, we'll give it a go. We've then got some freebies, and then I'll be showing you in Obsidian a Kanban bookmark system. So, how does that sound? Let me know in the chat. Not that I can see the chat, but never mind. You understand. I'll see the chat shortly. Right, we're broadcasting in 1080p. Well, at least we're broadcasting. That's the start, isn't it, Mike?
Mm.
Make sure that you're watching in 1080p. Although I will say, YouTube's been kind to me this week. Not only has it opened everything in the highest possible quality, but it's given me what it calls premium quality, because I'm a premium user, YouTube Red. So can't complain with YouTube this week. Makes a change. Right, there is a like button down there. We are back. Season 3, Episode 1. So give us a like. It really does make a difference. So we're heading into the week at MacBites headquarters, which means we're rolling back to last Saturday. We had warnings on Friday. We had warnings on Saturday of inclement weather. The weather wasn't really our problem, was it? It was still a little warm, but we didn't have the thunder, the lightning and everything else that went with it. But we did have issues on Saturday. Mike was engaged in a battle to the death with Windows. It was the black screen of death. I'm thinking that's more serious than the blue screen of death. I won't say that the machine he was working with took a while to start, but we left it while Lola had her walk, and on our return it was alive. Sadly, not for long. While Mike was doing that, I was involved in a similar fight with macOS. I would like to claim it was a cerebral affair, but it ended up a bit more visceral than that. What could make all of that worse? I'm glad you asked. The cricket was on. It was the third day of the third test, but not so fast, Mike. While the weather here was fine, over in Leeds it wasn't. Rain stop play. Far as I was concerned, result. So, watching paint dry it was then. But that wasn't everything that I was doing. I was doing more than that. I was testing live streaming with our new toy. And I declared, if you remember, Mike, you should remember this, it should be burnt on your poor brain. I declared we'd need more testing.
Yes.
That's how well it went. But last Saturday was also, 8th of July, Carol's birthday. So happy birthday, Carol. Don't know if she's with us at the moment.
She is.
Oh!
She's just mentioned it in the chat.
You see, I could not have put that in there after your mention. It was there before, honestly. Right, that took us to Sunday. We finished Saturday with a birthday and we start Sunday with a birthday. It was Affinity Photo's 8th birthday. Oh, how did that happen? I remember getting my little claws on it and doing 2 live streams within 24 hours. And they've had something like 250,000 views. So popular as ever. While I was celebrating birthdays, yet Mike was still valiantly fighting Windows, weren't you? This was serious bad news. He nuked it 4 times. So you know that I don't know what the option actually says. Is it like restore to factory settings?
Something like that.
Please start over. You've made that much of a mess. That kind of thing. 4 times. What drama would Sunday bring? But he wasn't on his own, was he? Because I was still doing more live stream testing. And good job Amazon delivered 7 days a week, isn't it? I had new cables to install. Related. Never, ever again. There's one thing. What makes me cranky, Mike? Really cranky? Changing cables. And what could make that worse? While I was distracted with the cable origami, Mike managed to find some action in the cricket. England were their usual hairy, scary selves, leaving the crowd in danger of a coronary, but, in fact, brace yourselves. I had to get a screen capture of that because I couldn't believe it either. The entire test series is now on a knife edge, as England need to win both remaining matches, but the Aussies only need to win 1. Better still, the 4th test is at Old Trafford. No, not the football ground, the other Old Trafford. Do you call Lanky the other Old Trafford? I always do.
Yeah.
There's no point saying Old Trafford. People think you mean the football. No. It's on our doorstep and somewhere we visited more than once. I know, you're surprised, aren't you? So was I. But it's true. That is the view we had when we rocked up for, was it a 1-day something?
Yeah, so was
Lancashire
it T20, I think?
Oh, was it? Right. It doesn't mean a thing to me. It was just fellas with bats hitting balls, that kind of thing.
Paul Murphy's sitting, waiting patiently for the cricket, he says.
Oh, yeah, it's the 19th. The 19th it is. Here's Mike in the stand. I'm guessing you all want proof I was actually present too. I should put this out for a poll, shouldn't I? I'm just assuming that you would like proof I was there too. Oh, I was. Here you go.
Kim and Joe Ho have asked what's a wicket, so I need to do
You need to do a 101
a newbie's guide to cricket at some point. Yes,
you do. Obviously, I was in heavy disguise. It wouldn't have done my street cred any good whatsoever to be caught, 1, at a cricket match, and 2, looking a complete twonk. And there's potentially a new word for Renee. Let me know if you knew what twonk was. I wasn't in as much of a disguise as some. Might have to borrow that next time, though. And after all that, isn't it amazing they let us back in? But they did. A whole year after that, we were back for a formal dinner, or at least as formal as we ever get. Mike even managed to head to the crease and have a bowl. You're now going to need to explain what the crease is, Mike. Carry on. I know all the terms, not necessarily in the right order. It was the Munich fundraiser and the first YouTube premiere we did for MacBites After Hours as well. That was hairy scary, wasn't it? There were we about 6 miles from home. And it was YouTube premiering. There was nothing whatsoever we could do if it all crashed and burnt. We just had to trust. But that was where we were sat while I was typing in the chat to you guys. So if you've got a fabulous memory, you may recall it was also the day our new iPhones were due to arrive. Petrolhead Tony only just managing to get them in our hands before we had to leave for the dinner. Petrolhead, since he sent a text saying we were next for delivery and he was on his way. Only for him to take another 25 minutes. He'd stopped and filled the van with diesel before actually arriving. Not something I think he'll ever be tempted to do again, not after I'd forcefully instructed him as to the error of his ways. Mike was filling up too, but not on diesel. You enjoyed that, didn't you?
I did.
Yes. And he even found a friend who seems to have had that much to drink. He wasn't aware that that isn't a guitar. Google Photos had a fabulous time with all the photos I took, though. And it actually got even better than that, trust me. That was before Mike took to the dance floor.
Renee's not heard of twonk, by the way.
He has now. New word for Renee. Yes, look at him. For those marooners with us, yes, they're just a small collection of Mike's women behind him. And after the adventures at Lanky, I fear the fourth test will be an anticlimax. Starts on Wednesday. So we'll all be waiting, bated breath. Monday! A new standalone week at MacBites headquarters was released on the blog, if you're interested. Yeah, it should have been Saturday, but I said it doesn't matter, we'll do it on Sunday. Obviously, never say that, because then it was Monday. But better late than never. I think that's what I call the show, actually. We headed into Tuesday. Everybody will know that this next bit. Yes, Amazon Prime Day. Stay up till midnight, they said. There will be riches beyond your wildest imagining, they said. You'll be overwhelmed with joyous abundance at the deals, they said. And reality? Fantastic, Amazon. Fantastic. Might need to add another hamster to the wheel, methinks. Here, I've helped you out. Good to know they're on it, hey? Unbelievable. Tuesday was also the day that Bear 2 was released. This has been promised, I think, for over 6 months now. Bear is a note-taking app that works in Markdown that is absolutely beautiful. Oh, it is. It's one of those apps that's buttery smooth. It's gorgeous. I can't use it, but it's gorgeous. Reason I can't use it, there's no physicality of organising. There's no notebooks or folders. You do everything with tags. No, but anyway, it is something I subscribe to. You're wondering, if I don't use it, why am I subscribing to it? Because the one thing it does brilliantly is transform one note type into another note type. So if I have an Enex file, which is an Evernote export, I can convert it into any other kind of data I need and then take it somewhere else. So for that one job, it's absolutely fabulous. The other thing I found that it works well with is if you're trying to capture something and Evernote makes a real mess of it, Bear probably won't. So I've got 2 notes in there that I've captured. I just haven't exported them yet. But if you would like me to demonstrate what I do with Bear, let me know. Put it in the chat. So, got to Wednesday. I tried again. Yes, I tried again on Wednesday, and I did manage an order. Nothing exciting, sadly. I think it was another cable, wasn't it?
I think it was.
It's been a week of cables. Thursday. Oh, yeah, something new on Thursday. We have an Obsidian importer. So talking about converting stuff, you are able to take various file formats, but obviously the particular one most people are interested in is Evernote and its Enex export. And you are able to import and reformat into Obsidian. So if you do have notes in Evernote you're thinking of extracting, good news on that front. There is now an importer to assist you. More important, given the news from Evernote's new owner, Bending Spoons, based in Italy. They've laid off the rest of the staff. So they inherited this staff when they purchased Evernote. But they've laid off the last of them. They are not shutting down, according to them. They're moving operations to Europe. That's not much help for all of the people who have now lost their jobs. And of course, those people who have lost their jobs, they were the experts in Evernote. So no idea what's happening there and how it will all end up, but something to think about. Last night, 8 o'clock, there we were on air, live, but we were testing our new software. I'm always wary of things that go too well in rehearsals, aren't you? Would you say it went well, Mike?
I think it went well.
Oh, he said it now, that's it. Never mind. That brought us to Friday. And Mike kindly reminded me, although I had remembered this, it's Bastille Day. So happy Bastille Day to anybody who is celebrating today. I did do a bit of research on that.
Shall I sing?
No, please don't. Do you mean the Cantona song? No, we'll get banned. Or they won't let me monetise or something. No, so don't. I did a bit of research. I only had a vague idea what it was all about. So I did a bit of research on that. Most interesting. The rest of the day, as I'm hoping you've all spent waiting for the return of MacBites After Hours. And here we are. In true Apple style, we do have one more thing, because I do read my Twitter, don't I? I do. So, if you could all just join in with this, although I won't let Mike sing, we have a birthday today. Happy birthday to Jammy's other half. I have no more information, he's incognito. But happy birthday to Jammy's other half. I do hope you've been indulged today and that Jammy has been working his little fingers to the bone. That's what I hope, anyway. So, end of the week at MacBites headquarters, we are back. Did we have any guesses, Mike, as to what Destiny Calling might be?
None at all.
Oh, come on. Not on. Okay. What could this be about? Well, to explain it all, we need to travel back in time to the weekend after the last MacBites After Hours. So let's do that first. So, we're back at the day after the last After Hours. My computer was in need of a little TLC. Would that was all it needed, to be honest. It wasn't playing ball no matter what I tried. It was possessed. Possessed, I'm telling you. All day wasted trying to persuade it to behave itself. So, before I knew it, it was the Sunday of that weekend. And rinse and repeat. More TLC needed, together with everything else I knew to fix it. It wasn't looking good. Monday. I should have given up by this stage. You know my new rule? If it's broken, leave it 24 hours and it'll be fine tomorrow. Yeah, I should have done that, but I didn't. It was still misbehaving. The red mist descended, and bad words were said. Very, very bad words. This machine in question is a 2020 iMac. It was the last Intel version. In fact, it turned out to be, which we didn't know at the time, the last 27-inch iMac. So it's only 2.5 years old, and it was top of the range when I bought it, December 2020. We even upped the RAM, didn't we? It's got 128 gig of RAM. So really, it shouldn't have been poorly, but it was beyond poorly. I had to face the fact that it was actually beyond help. Are you ready, Mike?
Yeah.
What do you say?
Dun, 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 dun,
Yes. There was only one thing for it. Returning to my 2017 iMac, just over 6 years old, but should still be workable, while I were to ponder the options for the 2020 iMac. Yes, it has Apple Care. Yes, the Apple Care has 6 months to run. Well, just 5 now. 5 now. So I needed to contemplate that, but I'd need therapy, wouldn't I? To contemplate another Apple Care fiasco. Anyway, everything would have been fine. Well, I would have had to have moved it off the desk. That's drama. And I would have had to have put the 27-inch back. But guess what happened? 2017 iMac not having it. Oh, no, you don't, it sneered. And crashed and burnt. So, shall we do the dun 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 again? Cut a long story short, it turned out that machine was beyond help as well. This left me, I'm not giving up yet. No, I had one final iMac. One final iMac from 2013. Not exactly cutting edge, I'll grant you. But it was that or nothing. I mean, seriously. This meant the only computer I was left with was this 2013 iMac. Obviously, there is the 2018 MacBook Air, but I meant a computer that might actually enable me to get some work done. It wasn't good. It was not good. So, Tuesday dawned. I spent the entire day resisting the inevitable. What was the inevitable, I hear you asking? That would be shopping, spending an obscene amount of money to replace something that shouldn't have been broken in the first place. I'm sure Timmy was gleeful at just the prospect of more money for Apple. I sagely decided to sleep on it before I was tempted to do unmentionable things to an effigy of him. But Wednesday dawned, and with it the realisation I'd accepted the inevitable. There was nothing else for it. I defrosted the credit card and I pushed the button. On what, I hear you ask? On this bad boy. Indeed. A Mac Studio M2 Ultra with 192 gig of RAM. I wish I had 3 or 4 kidneys, you know, Mike. That would have helped enormously. But the drama didn't finish there. Next day delivery and it ships today. Just let me roll on the floor and laugh at that one. No, Apple kindly informed me I could expect delivery sometime this side of Christmas. I presumed this year, but you never know. Timmy is supposed to be a deity of the inventory control world, isn't he? I wonder if he has to wait this long for a new Mac. Just something to contemplate, Timmy. 7-week back order. So it was a case of get your calendar out and stick a pin in it. And they predicted Thursday, the 20th of July. Now, obviously, you're thinking to yourselves, it's not the 20th of July. No, it's not. But remember, at this stage, it was the 15th of June. The wait started. It went on and on and on and on. And poor Mike was living with me while this was happening. The 21st of June marked 1 week on. And crickets. Proving the point, you know what they say about a watched pot? It's true. More time with my 2013 iMac, cursing at it every single day. I couldn't do any video, I couldn't do any audio, I couldn't do a thing. But by the following Wednesday, we were 2 weeks on. Crickets. Seriously. Crickets. But I thought, keep the faith, and heading towards the last week in June, keep going. By the Monday, we'd actually got to the levels at this point that we were in July, heading into week 3 of waiting. Yes, I know what you're thinking. Yes, crickets, nothing happening. But as Monday became Tuesday the 4th, you may recall we had an internet outage. Yes, more bad words were said about that. Virgin said, looks like there are issues. Yes, if you watch the week at MacBites Headquarters, you will know exactly what I thought of that. But while they were stating the obvious, they predicted 5 hours to fix it. While I awaited the outage out, as it were, I pondered what I could do that demanded little in the way of fast internet. I came up with an idea. Check my order status. Yes, I know. Again. And I know a watch pot and all that. But what else did I have to do? As I grumbled. It was a miracle. A miracle had happened. It was preparing for dispatch. Now, obviously, that could mean anything, couldn't it? That could mean absolutely everything. But it was better than not moving, and it hadn't moved since time immemorial. And then it got even better, as I was grumbling about my lack of internet. Oh, it had actually shipped. So it was preparing to ship for all of 10 minutes, but it actually had shipped at that point. So that made me feel a little bit better about my lack of internet. I did check. You can see I'm on 4G at this stage. I did check, and yes, it was on its way. Not the 20th. Oh, no. No. The 12th. The deliveries app confirmed it and provided a handy little map so I could see where it was. So at this stage, it only had 5,965 miles to go. I don't think I've travelled that far in my entire life, you know. But it was at least on its way. So this is what my next 8 days were looking like, switching from one to the other, the Apple Store and the deliveries app. Unbelievably, on the Tuesday it was dispatched. It actually arrived. It cleared customs in China and arrived in Hong Kong. Oh, this was going alarmingly quickly, which took us on to the 5th. I had internet back by the 5th. Quite how I managed to sleep, I don't know. But as I awoke, my adventures of the night before came flooding back, and I checked just to be sure. But 3 weeks on, it really was true. It was on its way. So, nothing else for it, but back to watching the pot. It then arrived in Hong Kong and departed Hong Kong after it had cleared customs. Now, I've followed computers before, and we did have one that went all over the place. It went from China to Hong Kong, from Hong Kong to Bahrain, from Bahrain to Portugal, from Portugal to Germany, from Germany to Ireland, and finally arrived here about 3 months later, I think. So the fact it had got to Hong Kong quite quickly, I was impressed, record time that. But then it dispatched from Hong Kong. Didn't say where it was heading, so your guess was as good as mine. Turned out, Bahrain. At that stage, only 3,300 miles to go. It'd done half a journey in less than a day. I was getting excited, more than was good for a woman of my age, I can tell you. But where was it going from Bahrain? Indeed, I pondered. I thought Portugal myself. No! The DHL East Midlands Distribution Centre. Oh, there were happy words said, really. If you aren't familiar with UK geography, the red area here is the East Midlands. And that is where we were. Oh, that is so close. MacBites headquarters, just to the left of it. Excitement. The only fly in the ointment was it arrived in the UK by 9:30 at night. Horror of horrors, the delivery date was now unknown, so obviously you think bad things, don't you? Was I stalking it? You bet I was. That's the DHL depot at the East Midlands Airport. It's actually in the airport, as you can see. I'm not convinced that's the plane that was carrying mine, but you get the idea. It's actually in the grounds of the airport, so I stalked it. I even plotted a route for them. It was only 81 miles from here, and an estimated journey time of 90 minutes. But according to Apple, the last 81 miles was going to take 8 days. Even with the snarl up on the motorway, no, it's not on the motorway, is it? It's the A500. You could still do that in 90 minutes. It need not take 8 days. At that stage, I then started stalking our local depot. This is the one in Trafford Park. Apple lied. Never mind 8 days. By 2 a.m, it was on the road. By 4 a.m, on the 6th of July, my new baby was settling in at DHL Trafford Park. Ooh! I decided I should probably go to bed. Some sleep was called for. I headed to bed dreaming. It might make it before the weekend. This was Thursday morning at this stage. I checked. Delivered by Wednesday. Thanks for that. But DHL, top of the screen, us, bottom of the screen. It's 4 miles. The box could walk itself here in 4 days. 8 days, rather. Seriously, Apple? Really? And I thought it's cleared customs. It doesn't need to clear customs to get from the East Midlands to here, but there you go. So I thought, you never know. I left instructions for Mike to wake me at 8:30 so I could check if by some miracle it was out for delivery. It wasn't, so I drifted off again. Further strict instructions issued to Mike to wake me in an hour for another check. Nothing. I drifted off again. I thought I'll give it one more go. One last check, because 10:30 is the cut-off. If it's not out for delivery by 10:30, it wasn't likely to be delivered that day. So 10:30 rocked round. Darn it, nothing. I hunkered down with my snuggly blanket and an eye mask to get at least a few hours' sleep while plotting how to raid the DHL depot. Oh, I also noticed at this point the DHL depot was closed over the weekend. Really? Apparently so. I was grumpy. We're back to the fact that the watch pot never, ever boils. But 10:45 rocked round. As I drifted off, Mike heard the gate open. Then the porch door. He went to investigate. Excitement much. But do bear in mind, with what you're watching now, I was asleep. When Stealthy Stanley rocked up, that does not look like a DHL van, does it, Mike?
No.
No. Was it DHL or was it something silly? Like another cable? All is about to be revealed as Stealthy Stanley takes out a box that does not look like a bunch of flowers and sneaks it in. Now, it was important. The reason I was saying to Mike, get me up, was they wouldn't deliver it without a signature, and Mike was working. You can see him taking a photo and all the rest of it. Signature? What signature? Just saying. Fancy leaving that in the porch unattended, but only for about 10 seconds. You were there fast, weren't you, Mike?
I was.
He was there before the man managed to drive off, and he found that waiting for me. Ooh! So much for not being able to deliver it without a signature. Just saying. So, what do we have for you? What do we have? Oh, grand unboxing. It was exciting. I must admit, it was actually hairy scary, as far as I was concerned. Because I didn't have a monitor. I did not order the expensive monitor. I get grumpy with monitors. They're too expensive. They get grumpy. Can you actually hear the sound on that? Oh, excellent. Yeah. I can't. I don't know why. I should be able to, but I can't. So I don't know if I'm talking over myself. Because I did have things to say about it, but I can't hear
like
it.
You, Mac.
Well, just shut up.
I heard the tearing and the pulling the box out.
Yeah, there was no bad words said, I can assure you. I will point out, though, because if I don't, one of you will. Here's more tearing. I will point out the classy plaster that's on my thumb, because I've broken a nail. Broke the nail before it arrived. So I do have a very classy plaster on there. Oh! I think I mentioned when I opened this, the smell of new Mac. So again, I'm going to shut up at that point. But there was baby on the desk. If you're wondering at this point why Destiny was calling, I've called the machine Destiny. You know I always have weirdy names, and that's what I decided on for that. Hadn't worked out at this stage that the handle was stopping it opening. I'm a bit slow. To be honest, I was working on 20 minutes sleep. So that was probably why. But there is my toy. Oh, this is where the smell of new Mac came. Oh, and then it didn't prop up, and then I had to do it again. And then the handle got stuck again. 20 minutes sleep. It does me no good, does it, Mike? But there he is. Oh, nice. And there was a definite smell of new Mac, I'm telling you. Am I the only person to be flummoxed by the box? Everybody else would be flummoxed with setting it up, but me, it was the box.
I think I'd be flummoxed with the box.
The box was crazy. Gets better than that, actually, once I've got the computer out. But yes, there he is. It said on the box it weighed 6 point something kilos, which is about 16 pounds. They weren't kidding. Whoa, it's heavy. It is really heavy. I think I was expecting something like a Mac Mini, and it wasn't. No way was it anything like a Mac Mini, I can assure you. It weighed an absolute ton, that thing did.
Kim says she's laughing so hard because she had the same problem opening hers.
Thank God it's not just me. Looking a complete twonk. New word for Renee. We'll have to have a word of the week for Renee. Twonk is this week's. Oh, yeah. Watch what I do wrong next. Yep, pack the box up. Why was I doing that? Got the toy out. Don't need the box, do I? No. What have I forgotten? I was about to put it on the floor, I think. You get it completely out of the way when it struck me. Yeah. I'm used to an all-in-one me, you know. What can I say? I am used to it. You take it out, that's it. Nah, but then I'd forgotten something. Oh, at this stage, I'm taking a photo. And then I get excited at this stage. Oh, I do.
Paul Conaway says the box on the 24-inch iMac was similar. So it must be the new Apple standard.
Apple have got over clever with boxes. Was it the 27-inch that shipped in like a triangular box, like a Toblerone? They were a nightmare. Where you supposed to stack those? Idiots. Have I realised at this stage yet? No, I haven't. Oh, I think I might have done. And then I try opening it again. Oh, big mistake.
No, but somebody has.
What?
Realised.
You realised before me?
Yeah. Yeah, Paul Conaway's put it in the chat.
Yes, I'm an idiot. What can I say? Oh, look. I put that back in the box very quickly because I like to keep the smell of new Mac. It's more expensive than something like Christian Dior. That was stuck. I actually had to peel that off. And at this stage, I'm thinking that is very heavy. That is very, very heavy. And if only I could plug it into the screen that sat there, teasing me. Not letting me do a damn thing, that computer. A nightmare.
I didn't take the power cable out.
I do venture back into the box. Kim can start laughing again. I've forgotten the power cable. I know, what can I say? 20 minutes sleep. And then the handle was stuck again. Oh, Apple, come on. I had visions of this taking another hour at this stage. And poor Mike was trying to do the unboxing video. I finally get my hands on it, I do. I was more interested in the sticker, I'll be honest. And then, of course, I'm trying to close it up again. We used to have a show in the UK called the Krypton Factor. And there were puzzles like this, weren't there, that you had to do. I always thought I'd be good at that. But I've realised, no, probably not. Probably not. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Oh, my word. So there it was. There was everything. Finally, you'll be glad to know, DHL got round to telling me they delivered it 4:45. It'd have been here 6-7 hours by then, but you know, better late than never, as the last week at MacBites headquarters was. So that was what I bought. That was only the start of the grief, obviously. Have you noticed how clean the Apple images look? Doesn't bear any relation to reality, do they? This was the back of the iMac with associated detritus. Yes, and dust. I don't move it. It just sits there. It's a wonder it didn't look worse than that. But what is that? That's a network cable, 2 monitors, 2 USB hubs with 16 ports on each. What's that white one? No idea what the white one is. Well, they're 2.
That for the second monitor.
No, the monitors are the 2 silver ones on the right. 2 USBs and then whatever they are. Well, they're USB, whatever they are. Oh, no, hang on. The white one was the hub. The black one was the hub. The other one's a microphone. I can't remember what the third one is. Probably a third hub. But either way, the new one did not ship with the same ports. But I did manage that, which, you know, first attempt, not great. Let's just say not great. Yeah, that wasn't going to work, was it? Certainly not winning any prizes for elegance there. A rethink was required. So I did the rethink, and I figure the best way is just to show you live, isn't it? So let's do that and see if that's working. I'll move there. And there we go. That is live right now. So with a bit of luck, if I do that, and I press that button there, you should be able to see that.
Yeah,
and I
live.
can move here. So look at that. Not a cable in sight. Look at that. But I do have something to show. Just doing that was a work of art. Trust me on that. But if I show you there, you will see, I can't point to it, but if you look just above the 2 ports on the left, you'll see a line under the monitor. I'll zoom in so you can see it more. See, like a little line? Yeah, you're wondering what that is, aren't you? String. Yes, if we go this way, you can see the string and you can see the cable. I have tied string around the cables so I don't lose them behind the desk. If you're wondering where that string is going, it's going up to a hook behind the computer. There is a knotted piece of string on it. Oh my word. But from the front, I will call that success. Success at that stage. Absolutely. Unbelievable.
Annie says your plant's doing well.
Oh, my plants are fabulous. Yeah, I've got that plant there. And if we move across this way, past the Samsung monitor, ignore that, we've got another one there. And they're doing amazingly well, aren't they? Yeah, they're plastic. The plastic plants are fabulous, I'm telling you. Absolutely fabulous. So, you can see we have had a busy time. You can imagine the bad words that were said. But we're there now. We are there now. So, we can get on with it. So, if you've got any questions, the reason that I'm doing the file management and the magic of the black hole is because obviously I have had to completely set this up. And some things work really well, some things not so well. If you have any questions about how I did anything, just throw them into the chat. Throw them in there. So, let's get back to me over here. Right, and me doing that. Awesome. You should now be seeing the magic of file management and the magic... file management and the magic of the black hole. So when it came to setting up said new Mac, apart from the nightmare of the cables, which was bad enough to cope with, I can assure you, it's like, how quickly can you get set up? So the black hole is something that we've talked about for a while, and it's to do with transferring data, so transferring files. Originally, it was between Mike and I, but this week I've used it transferring stuff to myself, really, between machines, because I haven't got everything set up on this new Mac at the moment. But I do have the majority of it set up, so let's go in and have a look about how I did that. So, let's do that, and let's get a Finder window.
Renee wants to know if it has 2 SD slots.
No, it doesn't. It has one, and the SD slot is on the front. What is in the front slot of mine is a 1 terabyte SD card. I wanted to format it. I figured at 1 terabyte I could format it. Let's switch back so you can see it. There we go. There we go. So that's it there. It has that slot there, and it has the 2 USB-Cs on the front as well, but there isn't another one on the back. So that's a 1 terabyte. I wanted to format it as Apple file system, and I couldn't. So it's formatted as exFAT. So it's not as fast as it would be if it was formatted the way I wanted it to be, but Apple won't let me do that. There's a lot of things I've noticed with this that Apple won't let me do. That's just one of them. Trust me on that. Right, so let's go back over there. In fact, while you're looking at that, I could do that, and that would help immensely, I think, or maybe not. So you have a look at that while I push buttons over here. Right, there we go. That's that button done. And I am not putting that in there. I'm going to put it in there. Okay. And we'll leave that there. Right, so I'll switch back. So what I did was, you've obviously got your documents and downloads folder. First fiasco is when you set it up, you obviously have to put your account. If you look down the bottom there, you can see Macintosh HD, users, Elaine G, documents local. The Elaine G part, absolute nightmare. If when you set your machine up, you type in your name with any capitals, Apple automatically reduce it to lowercase now. It's not that it doesn't support capitals, as you can see, but you are not allowed to set that up as the first account with any capitals in it. So I had a ponder and thought, I've done this before, so as long as I can still do it on Ventura, we're good. You have to create the account and then create another admin account and then jiggery-pokery with the first one, and you have to make 2 changes to fix it. What is utterly ridiculous is while I'm logging into my original account that's lowercase, to make the second admin account, I'm expecting, because this has happened before, that the second admin account will also be forced to be lowercase. No. So the second one let me use admin with capitals. Apple, genius. Genius. Not. That's ridiculous, because when you read the instructions for how to do it, it's a nightmare. It's like, don't do this. Don't do this unless you absolutely need to. Now, why did I bother? Well, I've always used Elaine G as the home folder, and the setup of the black hole, in fact, the setup of everything in Dropbox relies on it. So I did create the second admin account, and I did go back and I did the instructions, which I'll put the link below. Can you make a note that I need to put the link below, Mike? Of the instructions from Apple for how to do it. And then I could start working. So I create inside here, I've got the standard stuff. So desktop's there, documents are there. All of these are absolutely standard. But I create another one called Documents Local. My rationale for that is, previously, documents, desktop and documents, I have been with that, syncing it with iCloud, which has varying degrees of success, going from none to very little. So this time I'm not convinced at the moment whether I will do that with desktop and documents. But my documents local folder is to indicate to me that these documents are not backed up anywhere. These are local only files. So I'm not using the desktop. I'm not putting anything on the desktop at all. My documents folder, there's nothing in there either. I am using the downloads folder, and I'm using my documents local. So my documents local is where most stuff that is local will go. So if I open that up, you can see I have literally just created that. I will put it in the right place. But what I've got here is my Para. So I have changed Para slightly. Para is an organisation system, projects, areas, resources and archives. I decide to put an inbox on there as well. And my inbox is always named __ inbox, which pushes it to the top. And then it has the drive name after it. Then I have projects, areas, resources and archives with numbers, so they're in the right order. And then I have my application support folder. My application support folder is where automatically applications will put their data. So I've got in here Audio Hijack, I've got Obsidian, and I've got Zoom. So if we look in Obsidian, there's my Obsidian Vault, and it's local. Now, obviously, that is being backed up, that's been synchronized. This file that I've just created was the webcam being recorded. So if I put in there what that is, After Hours 199, and that is webcam 1. Right, what would I do with that? Well, I have in my resources recordings, and you can see there is a recording being made in there. So I would put that in my resources and deal with it later. So that's what I've got in the way of organisation on the actual hard drive itself. I also have, as we've just discussed, this 1 terabyte SD card, and that is organised exactly the same. This one is something that I've been working with, so I'll put that in the inbox until I sort it out. I do have a couple of extra things in here in relation to Para. So I start off with my inbox, then I have my Para folders, but I also have 2 extras. One is for transfer. So if I'm putting something on this drive to get it off my main hard drive, but it needs to be moved somewhere else, I will put it in my for transfer folder. And then at least once a week, I will clean that out and move things where they're supposed to be. Deletable backups, you may think, why do you need that when you've got archives? But they are deletable backups. Archives are where I put things that I might need in the future. My deletable backups are, I have stuff in the downloads folder. So every night when I finish work, although that's probably the small hours of the morning, isn't it really, Mike? But every night I back up the downloads folder and it goes into the deletable backups. Because once a week I will organise the downloads folder as well. And then as part of my weekly review, I will clear out the deletable backups folder. So that's how I organise drives, and that's the stuff that's on there. But the black hole is specific. So the one thing that I have installed is Dropbox, the Dropbox client. Now, obviously, you can use Dropbox via a browser, but Dropbox is the one that I've installed. Reason being, Mike and I wanted Dropbox for one feature, which is audio-video review. It's cheaper to use Dropbox than a dedicated service. And with that came 3 terabytes of storage, which we have absolutely no need for. So we were using Google Drive, but we decided we would switch everything to Dropbox, including the black hole. So Dropbox was the one I installed. Does that mean I don't use Google Drive anymore? No. But Google Drive, OneDrive, pCloud, and any of the others that are out there, I'll use through a browser. So for example, if I'm processing a video and I end up with the final video, so say like the week at MacBites headquarters, I will instantly upload the final file to pCloud, but I will do it through a browser. Mike made the mistake of installing the pCloud client, didn't you?
I did.
And then tried to shift gigs worth of data to it. Didn't end well, did it?
Didn't. Bad words were said.
Crashed the whole machine. It's actually much more stable via a browser. So that's why I don't bother installing
As long as you do it in chunks.
In a browser, it's not bad, because don't forget, we got our upload speed doubled.
True.
So many moons ago, we used to upload 500 meg, not gig, 500 meg of content to, was it S3?
S3, I think.
S3 or Payloads, one or the other. And that 500 meg used to take 4 hours. And the number of times it failed was unbelievable. I uploaded 600 meg. In fact, I've uploaded like files that are 1.3 gig, but 600 meg uploaded in less than 2 minutes. So it doesn't really have time to time out. So using the browser, I've not found a problem with it. So if we look at my Dropbox install, again, Para is pretty much there. I just have an inbox at the top. I have projects, areas, resources and archives. My application support, which has a lot more in it than my local one, because I've got all of these apps that are in there. Now, the thing with that is, that means that when I install my Affinity apps, let's take Affinity Designer, inside here, I also have all of the assets, templates and keyboard shortcuts. And they're all got underscores, so they're at the top of the folder. If stuff is generic, it'll be in there. So this is an RTF file. These are the Affinity fonts. These are assets, brushes, colour palettes. All of those can be installed in any one of the 3 apps. So I have 4 Affinity folders to set that up. The photo one I don't think has much in the way. Yeah, just templates there for one. And the publisher one has the most. Templates, assets, fonts, etc. But it means as soon as I've installed Dropbox, all the paths to all of the content that I need to get this machine up and running quickly is there. It's just there. You can see for all of the other apps, they are in there as well. An interesting one is BBEdit. BBEdit has in it the colour schemes, custom keywords, all kinds of stuff in here. It's got text filters in there, it's got setup stuff in there, all of that. You'll notice in here, these are the actual files. They are being accessed by every installation of BBEdit I use. Because what I did at the library end, so if we do that and go to the library and go into application support, and hopefully BBEdit is in there somewhere. Where are you? No, you're not, are you? Don't know where BBEdit is actually now. Not in there. Are you? Is there another one? Is there another one? You're not in there, so you're definitely in one of these things, but I'm not sure which one. But there's a BBEdit folder, and what I've done is I've put symlinks to them rather than actually move the data. That way, no matter what machine I create these scripts on, they automatically get put in the right place. So that to me is the benefit of having a cloud service. It doesn't need to be Dropbox, any cloud service, as long as it's the same cloud service on multiple machines. So that's what I've got in there in my application support. Where are we? Let's get back in here. Right. The apps folder is a reserved folder. That is something that Dropbox handles. All of these apps are, you can see they've got a tiny little icon on them indicating that they are controlled by Dropbox. So Scrivener has my Scrivener files in it, but you can see I've added a Scrivener archive to it. And that's because I don't want all of my Scrivener files syncing, because if I sync the lot, my iPad would die a sad death. And you can see I've got extras and an archive in the same place. So that leaves the public folder that I just leave there. But the black hole used to live in here. But I moved it to the resources folder. So in the resources folder, we can see at the top, a black hole. You can see a load of other resources as well, all kinds of stuff. But the black hole is the important one. So it's just a standard folder. Inside it, it has 2 more folders. Drops for me and drops for Mike. What I've done to improve the configuration is, because when I set this up, I need a couple of apps to make it work properly. One of the things I like to do is use the correct icon. So in the configuration folder, there is the icon that I use. That actually belongs to the Drop Copy app, which was what we used to use before it broke. But what that used to do, and why it's called the black hole, is it used to put an icon on the desktop, which is the black hole. So that's why we use it. I decided I could afford to put that in the configuration folder and make the whole thing self-contained. So with that icon in there, I don't need to go round and fish the icon out of any other places. I do have icons in other places, as you probably saw. In my resources, I have all of these icons, which I use. They're 560 at 144 dpi. And I use these in Notion. So if I'm referring to anything in Notion, I use these icons. And I had the black hole icon in there. Didn't make sense to. It might as well live in the configuration folder inside the black hole. These don't need any subfolders. Mike has no subfolders. I archive my stuff, so I do have a subfolder, but they don't need a subfolder. Right, I'm going to warn you now, because I didn't warn you before. Sorry about that. What can I say? 20 minutes sleep. If you could find a file and drop it to me when requested, we'd be getting somewhere.
Any file?
Well, obviously something that wouldn't get us taken off air. And not something that's huge. Right, so what I want is when I type in to Raycast or Alfred, black hole, BH, I want to do that, and I want it to take me to my black hole folder. And you can see there's Drops Through Lane. We've just gone down one more level. There's my archive. So anything that new comes in, I will see it in there. So that's part of it. That's retrieving something from the black hole. So with it up there, do you want to drop me a file?
Yeah.
And let's see how long it takes to appear. Which would be a good time to talk about Dropbox and the fact that Apple have broken it. So there you go. That was fast, wasn't it, Mike? And that's perfect. Right, so we've now got cube functions in there. Right, this is what Apple did. Apple decided that all cloud services had to behave the same way. That includes Dropbox, Google Drive, all of them. They have to behave the same way. What that means for you and I is, whereas in years gone by, with my 3 terabytes of cloud storage, I could have bought a 4 terabyte drive and said to macOS, make that drive be my Dropbox. Put my Dropbox files on that external drive. You can't do that anymore. It has to go on the main hard drive. Apple have got history with this. They've done it before. Way back when Mavericks was released, before Mavericks, you used to be able to put your iBooks anywhere you liked. So any books that you bought, you could put wherever you like. You could add books to the Books app. You could put them wherever you liked. With Mavericks, you could only put them on the main hard drive. Now, back then, it wasn't unusual to have a 128 gig hard drive. Good luck with that, because my books were about 80 gig, and I could not put them anywhere else. They had to live on the main hard drive. No amount of persuasion and hacking, dirty hacking, or any other kind of hacking would move it. And that is the situation now. So people who were using an external drive to basically back up their Dropbox and give them local access to everything, you can't do that anymore. A second knock-on effect of that is, as you see, this is the file that Mike has just sent. Next to it, there is an icon. That is indicating that that file only exists in the cloud. You can see that because it's 0 bytes as well. That is the new default behaviour. That is problematic because if I were to double click on that file, it would open it in PowerPoint and there'd be no slides there. If you were to save that file in that state, you could overwrite the one with the files in the cloud. This is a nightmare. But, cheers, Timmy. You think it's grand. Maybe, not casting any aspersions, don't come for me, only my opinion. It's a grand way to sell hard drives, isn't it? Hard drive upgrades at the cost of 17 kidneys. Just saying. So what I choose to do with this is leave them in the cloud. That actually works best for me, and I save hard drive space. So I'm working out of the cloud. So if I want this file local, I need to right click on it and say make available offline. And it will then download that. You can see there was a little blue circle with white arrows in it, and now it's downloaded and it's quite small anyway. When I've finished with that, I can then say make available online only. That will take it off my hard drive and save me space, and I can then take that and dump it in the archive when I've dealt with it. So that is how I'm working with this. But how is all of that set up? So these are only folders. There is one folder called the black hole. There are 3 folders within it, one for me, one for Mike, and one for the configuration. How this actually works, so I should probably make a file now, shouldn't I? I will make a text file. Hello, Mike. Right, so I've got my text file. I will save my text file. I am going to save that. I'm not going to put it there, actually. I'm going to put it on my desktop. No, I should probably put it in Documents Local, shouldn't I? Let's put it in there. So, hello, Mike text file. Right, that's in there. So I've got a file that I want to send to Mike. Obviously, I could open up my Finder and I could drag and drop it in here. But that way madness lies. Who wants to do that? So I would be working with the file. Let's say it is on the desktop there. Hang on, I don't think that's got the right extension. In fact, it doesn't look like it's got any extension. Right, let's take the text file and put it so you can see it. There we go. So I would want to send that to Mike, and I would want to do that without opening up Finder and generally piddling around. So I have Bartender running, and that's why my menu bar is neat and tidy. Oh, I saw someone the other day, it met in the middle, Mike. Oh, I nearly broke down. But I do need access to stuff that is running. So if I click here, you can see what's running. I've got a few things running. But none of them is the black hole. I used to have the black hole showing. We use an app for this called Drop Zone. And how I access this is using Bartender. I bring up the Bartender search and I type Drop Zone and press enter. That opens it up and shows me everything I've got configured in Drop Zone. And one of those is the Drops for Mike folder. So here's the file. I need to send it to Mike. I drag it over there, I drop it on there, and it moves it. Now, in that circumstance, it moved it. If I want to copy it instead, so let me go and get, what have I got here? I've got so few files on here at the moment, it's unbelievable. What have we got here? That'll do. Right, let's take that one. Oh no, that's a bit on the big side. There we go, let's take that one. So what I've got there is a zip file. Now this one, let's say I've zipped this, and I do want to send it to Mike, but I don't want to move it. I don't want the only copy to be in Mike's possession, because doubtless he'll lose it. So I want to send a copy of it. So I do exactly the same thing. Drop Zone, which brings it to the front. I grab this, take it up to there, hover over that, and hold the Option key down. When I hold the Option key, I'm sending a copy of it. So that is making its way to Mike. You saw how fast that was. And it's a copy of it. And then I can put this one wherever I want to. So I put that back where it came from. And that is how that actually works. As I say, to get to it, I would go to BH, Black Hole. And obviously I'm looking at my own. So I don't particularly see Mike's, but I could do if I wanted to. Because it's not in any proprietary system, which it used to be. I can just go to Drops for Mike and open that up, and you can see this is synchronizing at the moment because that was 395 meg. So that's why it's synchronizing. When it's synchronized, that file will be there. And that is it for the black hole. It's simple, but it's fantastic. So I can send stuff to myself, I can send stuff to Mike. How that works in Drop Zone, how you would configure that, is all you would need to do is add a destination. Now your destinations can be local, which are the top ones, or that you can use what's called actions. So one of the actions, I don't really use actions that much, but this S3 action is fabulous because we used to use Cloud Mounter, and before that we used to use Expand Drive. Would love to still be using them, but they've upgraded to version 4 and now it's subscription and they've taken features away. So, as I was bemoaning this fact, when I was installing DropZone, I thought, oh, there's an S3 thing. You do need the Pro version, which I got from their website. You can get this via the App Store, but I decided to go via their website to get the Pro version. And it now means in here, I have the MacBites newsletter assets folder, and I don't need to log into S3. I don't need to go and change the permissions. All I need to do is drag and drop a poster and drop it on there. And that's it. I'm done. So setting up this machine gave me the opportunity to say, I don't like the way that's working. That app's gone subscription. So I re-look at every process in the file management, and that I've managed to do that, and that's actually more efficient than it used to be. So there's an improvement. So the app that you would need for that is DropZone to do it the way I do it. If you're happy to do it manually, you only need to create the folders and you're done. So do we have any questions about that, Mike?
Not about that, no.
And do we have other questions?
We have questions about your setup.
Oh, right. Shall we do them at the end?
Okay.
Right. Well, if it's in relation to the black hole, I'll do it now. If
No,
not,
it's
right.
not
Okay.
about
We'll do it. We'll do that at the end. We'll have a rare old chat at the end. Okay. So that is that dealt with. Right. And let's head back into here. Oh, improving comments in PowerPoint. This is going to be a good one. I've been fighting PowerPoint, haven't I? Manfully. It's to do with having 3 monitors.
Yeah, just call you Rocky.
Oh, it was bad. It was bad, seriously. But it gave me an opportunity as I was looking at this to think to myself, there's a way to improve this. So first off, I used to use Keynote. You guys know that. And I loved the commenting feature in Keynote. It was useful as far as I was concerned. When I moved to PowerPoint, I was horrified. Then, to add insult to injury, Microsoft changed the commenting feature. So you may have commenting feature number 1 or you may have number 2. If you've got number 1, you won't be able to use number 2. But if you've got number 2, you could use number 1. It's complicated. So I was looking at it and thinking, however complicated it is, I don't like it. So I'm going to start off by showing you what I did like in Keynote and then how we can make PowerPoint actually do that. We will have to come out of PowerPoint to do that. We're not out of PowerPoint at the moment, but we will be shortly. So I created a file. Keynote comments. I hope they weren't rude. I can't remember. Right, whatever. Just do it. Just do it and bring it in over here. Right. So I created a new file and I added some comments. Right. This first comment has this code in it. There is a reason for that. We'll come back to that. But how I added that, I'll add another slide. It doesn't matter what in relation to this, but you have your blocks. So this is the slide title, you've got the subtitle block, and you've got your bulleted text. When you're adding a comment, you need to be very careful what you have selected when you add it, because it makes a difference. I tend to add, why I liked Keynote was when I added a comment, if it was the slide I had selected, it put the comment in the middle like a post-it note. Loved it. Loved it. Please do that. Right. So if I add a comment, you can see that's what it does. It tells you who made the comment. You can delete the comment when it was made. So we'll add another comment. Adding another comment. That's it. I loved the fact that when I went to the slide, I'd put the comment bang in the middle, couldn't miss it. So I put instructions for myself. I will show you some of that, but that was what I used to do. Now, thing to remember, that is what the comment looks like on the slide, but not all comments in Keynote are equal. So if this was our slide title, so our Hello World slide title, if I select that, where it's got the white handles at the edges and I add a comment, it adds it to the actual element itself and not bang in the middle. I hate that because I can't see it properly. So to me, that's a hidden comment. Hidden comment. Right, when you click done and click away, you can see there's a comment, but you have to click on it to actually see it. So I much preferred to see it in the middle. So that's a big difference with that. As we go through this, you can also see I've put some text, and this time the comment says attached to the text. So it's not attached to the block, it's actually attached to the individual text. When you hover over that, you can see it, or you can click and it will open it up. Right, moving from here, this is our first comment. This navigation will navigate you through all of the comments, irrespective of whether they're on the slide, a block, text, it doesn't matter. It will take you through all of it. I don't know, what do you guys think of that? To me, the granularity is great if that's what you want, but no, I don't want that. It's too complicated. In fact, I would say even this in the middle, I don't really need to know when it was. I don't care who it was because I'm not sharing it either. Ability to delete, nice, but to have to navigate in that kind of way, not good. While I'm on slide number 4, let's whip back to slide number 1, and this code here, I will copy. And there is a reason for that. If I've put a comment on a slide, and I can't remember which slide, but the comment was to the effect of add the XYZ image, I want to search for the comment. So if we move away from that slide, we have the ability to search. So we're opened up on the wrong screen. All right, so Command and F, I can search. Let's put my comment in. Oh, that one worked. That one worked. Okay, the other one didn't. Yesterday, that did not work. That's why I did that as a demo. You're playing with my mind, aren't you? Right, let's go into this one and see if it appears in there. Although we're going to get both, aren't we? Let's put that in, ABC, and put a D on the end. Right, and copy that. This did not work yesterday. Has there been an update? Are they literally playing with my mind? Let's go down here and put that in with a D on it. Not found. So there's our problem. If it's in this style of comment, it found it, although it didn't yesterday. But if it's attached to something, you can't find it. I think that is a big issue. It would be nice if in here, where it says no recent searches, if you could change the search scope, which you can do in things like Affinity Publisher. But clearly you can't do that in here. Those were the issues for me. I love the fact that that was in the middle of the screen. I did not like anything else about it. Right, so that's what we've got in Keynote. Do we have any questions about Keynote at that stage?
We don't.
Right, let's get rid of Keynote then. Right, I'm going to whip over here. No, I probably don't want to do that, do I? Right, let's get PowerPoint back. That's PowerPoint, but we've got to come out of PowerPoint. And I need to make a new presentation. So here we go. Right, this is how the comments work in PowerPoint. So, my new presentation. So we've got something there. I shall put my name on there. Right, and then I will add some slides. Slides. Right, the slides themselves don't matter. Right, when I'm creating a new After Hours, I actually have new from template, and I have an After Hours template there. So this is what I'm actually starting from, usually. You can see I've got my traffic light system, but I also in here have big post-it notes. That's what I want. That's what I want, but you can't do that. Let me show you what it does by default. We'll leave that one over there and come back to it. That's what we're aiming for. We could be a while. So if this one being agenda, right, let's say I want to put a comment on that slide. That should be relatively straightforward, shouldn't it? You go to Insert. No, I do not want to turn the camera on. Let's not be silly. It's Friday night. I've looked better. Right, comment. So you can put a comment. Now the comment is not, this is attached to the slide, if you're with me. It's not attached to any text. It's not attached to a block. It's just attaching to the slide. But Microsoft are working on the principle that you are starting a conversation rather than just adding a comment. I'm always working on my own. So it's very unlikely that I would consider it a conversation, but that's just me. But we can add a comment. So add a comment. That is what a comment looks like in there. At that stage, you've not actually added it. You can click the aeroplane icon, or you can command and enter and it will add it. You should have noticed it did two almighty things at that point. It put a blue border around here. Wasn't there something about the border colour was random? Wasn't yours yellow and you couldn't see it? And
I think it was.
You can't change it. It just decides for you. The Timothy approach. But it does let you add the text. It does have the time and date. It does have who you are. And then you can create a threaded reply. So you can create a separate comment if you want. This is a separate comment. We'll say second thread with that. All right. But you can also reply to it. Now, you've got the border indicating that there is a comment. If you were not on that slide, you wouldn't have the blue border. You have to be on the slide. You can also see here that you've got a 2 next to it, so you know there are comments. Keynote does not do that. So you can click on there and see it. And you can see as you hover over these that then the blue border appears. And so if I click on that one, I'm working with that. If the comments panel wasn't shown, you would be able to click on the speech bubble and the comments panel would then be shown. Right, if I wanted to select the text and add a comment to that, you can see it's all appearing over here. It's not really making that much of a distinction with where things are attached. You can in here see that that is now blue, so one of these is attached, and when you click it, it puts a blue stripe next to the thing over here. And on the left-hand side next to the thumbnail, it's now saying 3. So that is what you get in Keynote. It's powerful, particularly if you're working with people, and particularly if you are having threaded discussions. The only time we did that was with the bagel presentation, wasn't it? And we did it in Keynote and it was a living nightmare. Nothing worked. Trust me, loads of stuff broke in Keynote as soon as you were sharing it. So I think in PowerPoint that is much more robust. And you can then in here, so if I were to reply to it, you know, this is fixed, and send that, that's what the thread looks like. And you can in here edit it, resolve it, or delete it. So if we said it was resolved, it would dim out. You can then choose to reopen it if it becomes an issue. So if you need an audit trail, you can do that. Or you can choose to just delete it and then it completely vanishes. This goes back to 2. Our text is in there with that, and this one is attached to the slide itself at the top. So I would be more than happy to use that as is if I was working with somebody on a presentation. But that drives me insane because I can't see, if we look at over here, yes, I can see there's 2 comments on this, but what were they? What did I need to do? I've got no idea. I would then have to click on this. I would have to open the comments panel and I would have to read through. You can in here, I don't do this often. Is it under review? Yeah, under the review, you can add comments, you can delete comments, and you can navigate the comments. You can also choose in here what you show, so you can have advanced markup and the rest of it, right? So that is also available. But I never navigate the comments sequentially because I'm putting a presentation together. Tonight's presentation has 198 slides. I need to be able to navigate this quickly, not go from comment to comment to comment. I need to find the comment that I actually need. So what I actually want is what we've seen over here. So let's bring that back on. That's really what I want. All that is a text block with a yellow formatted background and some text in it. So it's not, if you look in here, there's no comment panel appearing, there's nothing else, because it's not really a comment. But for me, it's fabulous because I can look at the thumbnails, and I usually have the thumbnails stretched out to there. Not only can I see here, I've got my traffic lights, but I can also see what needs to be on that slide. So for instance, if this was next week, so it's this day here, So this, if this was next week's presentation, that would be the 19th of July. As soon as I've got that in and I know I'm going to put some text in, I format that to know that I've started it. And in here, what I need is that quickly. And that's the key, quickly. I do not want to have to go back and copy that and go to my new slide and paste it and then select all of this and then put cricket, because the cricket's kicking off on Wednesday. Cricket doesn't kick off, does it? What do they do? How do they start a match?
Bowl.
Oh, that's not clever, is it? No.
No.
Right, so that's the kind of thing that I want, but I also don't want to do it where I put a text box in and then have to format it, because all of that takes time. I do not want that. But I think you can see here, I have no idea what's going on Thursday, but let's say something else is happening. What's happening on Thursday, Mike? It's 20th. Oh, it would have been Mum's birthday. Would have been Mum's birthday. Right, so what I want is a really quick way of doing that. So I do that. I select all the text and I put in, it would have been Mum's birthday. God, how old would she have been? Oh, she'd be heading towards 90, 80 something. Late 80s. So that is how I want to do it. But how did I do that? Because that's not a PowerPoint feature. No. I tried everything in PowerPoint to do that and it wasn't having it. But before I show you how, this is why. So this one here, I would then go back to that. That started. So shape format is better with the fuller screen because I don't need to click the drop down. And that's how I work. But I can now see I need to put MacBites in there. I need to get something for the cricket in there. I need to put something in about Mum's birthday. And I can see it. It's fabulous. That's how it should work. Or at least they should give you the option to do that. That would be amazing. But they don't. So how do I do it? Well, I went back to the drawing board and I thought, well, I know if I copy this, I select it and I copy it and I go to where I want it and I paste it, it works. So what I actually need is a way to have the word comment. So initially it looks like that. The word comment, editable text, yellow background, held somewhere that I can paste on demand. That is what I actually need. Luckily for me, I have a way of doing that. So we all tend to have clipboard extenders. Put in the chat, what clipboard extender do you use? You use Alfred, don't you?
I do.
My Alfred is also there. I actually have Alfred. There you go. Alfred is alive. And I have Raycast. Both of them have clipboard extenders and I use both of them. You're wondering why. Backup. Purely backup. It writes to a cache and it can back up 3 to 6 months worth of data. I just let it do its stuff. But I hardly ever use the clipboard from either of them to paste from. It copies to it, but as far as I'm concerned, it's a backup. But the one I use is called Copy'em. So if we go into the App Store and have a look at that. Oh, is there a space in it? There would be, wouldn't there? There we go. This is the one that I use. Can you find the price of that, Mike? Because I can't see the price. You know what Apple are like. Have you bought it?
Of what?
Copy'em. Let's go to the App Store and look at the price of Copy'em. But I use this one. I use this one because if you see here,
$14.99.
It's worth every penny. Seriously, it is. You can see you've got your images, you can like stuff, you can add it to multiple clipboards, you can click to paste, you can paste with shortcuts, you name it, it does it. Trust me on that. You'll also notice here that you've got the ability, so if you bring this up, there is a local paste shortcut, which is the 5 key or the 1 key for the pretty penguins. But this is the trick up here, the global paste shortcut. So if you use that a lot, you can put it on a shortcut key. I don't think there's anything else in here that I particularly is amazing, but we'll go and have a look at it. So if I bring that up, and what I'll do is I will clear the whole... Oh, it's just pasted that in. Just a minute. It's off screen. Let me get it and paste it. Is it going to let me select the lot? doesn't look like it. Okay, I need to clear this first. Unless I just show you that. Let's have a look. What's on here? That'll do. Right. So I'm going to bring this on. This is what this looks like. So you can see I've literally just copied. Usually shows up there. I've copied Cricket. I've copied MacBites. I've got a load of stuff in here that I've copied as well. This is my clipboard history, my real clipboard history. Now, I could leave them in here, but what I've chosen to do is you can create multiple clipboards. This is the standard one that's just copy, 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 copy. But up here, I have favourites and I have presentations. I've just created an extra clipboard. We look in there, you can see I've got the word comment copied and I've allocated it a global shortcut key. So this, with it being in a separate clipboard to my standard clipboard, it's persistent. It stays there forever and ever. And if I wanted a comment that said something else, so let's say we were doing a 6-month series on something, I could add other elements to this clipboard. I just have the one at the top. With that available on that shortcut key, that is how I'm doing it. So if we get rid of that, the shortcut key looked horrendous, but I have no problem with shortcut keys. Control Option Command Shift and M for comment. So it's all 4 of the modifier keys and the letter M, and it puts it in. I then select the text and put whatever I like in there. And that means that as far as I'm concerned, that is a comment, but it's a comment that I can see in the thumbnails. So as I scroll through my presentation, what I'm looking for is the status of my traffic lights. Is there something that I haven't done? And obviously these aren't even started, so that doesn't even have the date on it, but the date would be the 21st. And then if I was doing that, and there would be a MacBites After Hours, yes, there's going to be an After Hours next week, and party time, it's episode 200. At that point, I know I need to put a poster about it, and I've started it, so I go and change that. That's how I work. So I'm a very visual person. What I can see about my presentation in the thumbnails is not just about, oh, that's a pretty slide. It's about, I'm being effective. I can glance at it. Yeah, I need something there. I need something there. I've not started that. So that is how I make the comments better in PowerPoint. So we got any questions on that?
Not directly, no.
I don't think people care. They just want to talk about the machine, don't they?
No,
is that where we're at tonight?
There are a few bits. Pandemonium says, I'm in awe of your organisation, Elaine.
Got to be organised or it'd be even worse.
And Tony Blythe had a question about the black hole thing.
Yeah.
Drop zone. Let me go and find it. Can you add magic beans to drop zone to get a document as a PDF in the target folder?
Yes, you could. Yes, you could. Those magic beans would be, easiest way would be Hazel. So let's lose that. We don't need that, do we? Let's lose that one. And we don't need that one, so let's lose that one. But don't close the other one because we do need that. Right. Yes, Hazel. Hazel would let you do that. I've got one Hazel rule, which is all to do with screenshots. It's a long story. But what you would do is you would add your black hole folder as a folder. So go find the black hole, which is in Dropbox, Resources, Black Hole, and it would be Drops for Elaine. So that is where the file would land in there. And you then would add a rule that's something that you want to do. So in this case, if it was, for example, a Word file, so if the extension is docx, this is what I want you to do. And in there, let's have a look. Can we make it a PDF or do we have to have a script to do it? Doesn't look like it does the PDF from here, but you could create a shortcut or a script to do that. And then that would happen as soon as that lands in it. What I'm doing with my desktop, we'll save that. Oh, never mind. Go away. Let's say no. Right. In my desktop, what I'm doing is, there's a complication with screen caps. Obviously, Ventura's doing it Ventura's way, and that's absolutely fine. I'm happy to do it Ventura's way. But I have a driver for my mouse, and I take screenshots with a single button click of my mouse, and they're not named correctly. So this one is looking, it's the same principle as you're asking about. Can you do something? Yes, you can. You would just have to make a script to make a PDF. What I'm doing is renaming the file based on a pattern in there. So that's the pattern that I want. So you can see I'm saying where the name starts with screenshot with 2 words. And I want you to change it to 1 because that's what it should be. And then I'm moving it to my downloads folder, which is where I put those things. So yes, you could, and Hazel is a very good way of doing that. And do we have anything else on that?
Not on that, no.
Right, let's get rid of that. And close that. Right, okay. We need to go back over there then. And have a look at this one. This one could crash and burn badly. It didn't work well in rehearsals, let's put it like that, but I'll show it you anyway. Right, we use TwistedWave to edit audio. We love TwistedWave. The reason that we use it, I used to use Amadeus Pro, and I liked Amadeus Pro as well. But TwistedWave has a unique way of allowing you to make an edit. And that is why we use it. You can make an edit, but the edit remains editable until you make a second edit. Now, when we're editing audio and you think that'll do it, and then you think, no, it's too tight, you would have to undo. But with TwistedWave, you don't need to do that. You can re-edit and edit, which I will show you. It went subscription a couple of weeks back. I mentioned it on the week at MacBites headquarters on the blog if you're not seeing it. And there are 2 extra features. One is transcription and one is video editing. Now, given the state of my machines, all of them, they unionised and they all came out in sympathy with each other. I was left trying to edit this file on this 2013 iMac. It didn't like it. But with TwistedWave, I was actually able to do it. And it made the difference between being able to do it and not. So we did go for the subscription. And we did take the extra cost, which was $29 for transcription and video editing. I will show you video editing next week, but transcription is what we're looking at today. So let's go get TwistedWave. So it is a single track audio editor. That is what it looks like. It looks a bit lionish, actually, doesn't it? Lionish or tiger. But it is an amazing editor. So I have a file that I have a transcription for. So I'm going to drag and drop that in there, and hopefully it's going to open it up, or at least have a think about it. No, it's not. It's misbehaving. Oh, there we go. You've decided to do it on the other screen. So what that is an audio file. It's a full show. It's 11 minutes. And where on earth's that gone? Right. You can I can tell by looking at that that's a show. Even if I couldn't see the title of it, because at the beginning on the left, I can see that looks like titles and that looks like credits. So it looks like a show. Right. Before I start playing this, I need to check that the audio level is not at deafening proportions. I don't know if it's at deafening proportions for you. So what I'm going to have to do is open that up. And okay, yeah, we don't need you. Right, let's lose you. Where are we? Come on. Right. It's on at 100%. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the beginning, and I need Mike to tell me if we're at, when the levels are right. So I'm going to take the levels down a bit while we play it, because you're going to need to hear this, obviously. Hello! Is that deafening or just about right?
I can't hear it.
When Mike has heard it, which we'll all have to wait 20 seconds.
That's okay to me.
Right, okay. So we've got a show. We have music at the beginning, music at the end, and the rest of it is me prattling on. Now, if I was editing this, obviously I would have to listen to it to be able to edit it, because I can't tell which bit's which. Now, ballpark, I probably could. I know this bit at the beginning. I can tell if like that bit there That is me breathing. I can tell that. But the rest of it, word for word, no, I would not be able to tell which was which. So when you're editing a file like this, it's going to take you a minimum of 11 minutes to edit it, because it's 11 and a bit minutes. So it could take you, if you're editing a MacBites and it's 45 minutes, it's going to take you an hour and a half, because you're making edits as you go. So the idea of the transcription is that you would be able to see the words on the timeline here, on the waveform. That's the idea. Now, what was happening, and I don't know whether it was because of the way I opened it, but show video. Well, where is my video? Where have you gone? There we go. So this is actually a video file, not an audio file. But obviously we can see the audio on the timeline and we see the video over here. So if I were to move through this, you would see the video. That's Mr. Fox from last week and Twitter. Right, I will show you how you edit the video next time, but that is just to show you that the video is actually there. Right, your speech transcription, the beauty of TwistedWave as opposed to other alternatives is that you're not paying per minute. If you remember when we talked about Hindenburg providing the same feature, it was going to cost us a fortune. You were paying per minute per track. So there was Mike's track, my track, the sound effects track, Siri's track, Lady Siri's track. And it was like, okay, that's going to cost me 5 times 45 minutes then. This got expensive fast. This is not sending this anywhere. It's doing it locally. Because it's doing it locally, I have no idea if it's going to play ball with us right now. But I do have one I did earlier, just in case it doesn't. But once you have set this up, so you would do exactly what I'm doing now, which is recognise speech. But instead of doing it, which is what it's doing now, it's recognising the speech, it will give you a dialog box and it will ask you to choose a language because it does support other languages. You do have to download the language even if the language is already installed on your computer, which freaked me out twice until I worked out what it was doing. Freaked me out because it gives you no indication that it's doing it. It just fails. It just says can't do it. And you don't know why. You can't select the language, but you can't select the language because it's not actually downloaded. So my advice to you would be, if you are going to try this, follow the instructions, and at the point that you choose whatever your language is, sit back for 5 to 10 minutes and then try it. Because there's no indication it's downloading it. It's a Mac thing. It's not TwistedWave. I did not know it was downloading it in the background, but that was why I couldn't select it. So there's a pro tip. So what's happening is, as it moves along the top, the red bit on the left-hand side is the window that we can see below. The black bit that's progressing across the top over to the 5-minute mark now, heading towards 6 minutes, is the transcription happening live. So it's going faster than real time. For this 11 minutes, I think it will probably take about 2 to 3 minutes if it manages to do it. I have had a couple of errors, but I haven't set this machine up fully yet, so we'll see how it goes. I did manage to get this video transcribed when I was testing it, about an hour before we went live. But obviously the machine is doing 10 times more now than it was doing then, so we have no idea how it will go. But it's progressing. So hopefully that black bit will get to the far end. And as you can see, what's happening in the timeline is we're actually getting the text. So if I know when I was talking about Elon Musk that I pronounced it Elon Musk, as I have done for years, but apparently it's Elon, who knew? If I know I've made the mistake when I'm saying that, you can see it in the timeline. So I don't have to think, oh, it was early on in the show, first 5 minutes. I can actually see where that is. I am able to select it. So if I've said Elon Musk and then, like, damn it, and then, no, Elon's right, isn't it? Elon Musk, and then I've said Elon Musk, then I need to delete the misspeak. And you can see where the misspeak is in terms of text with this feature. So you are paying $29 a year for the ability to edit the speech and edit the video, but in the last week I've used both of those. So to me that's absolutely fine. I'm okay with that. It is not 100% accurate, but it's not that far off either. And what it's doing as it's doing it, it's making an assumption as to what it thinks you've said, And then it's giving you a couple of alternatives. Now, I don't want to disturb it while it's recognising speech, but that is what it's doing. So if I just point out here, I was talking about Mr. Fox. We had a fox visit in the garden and Lola missed it. She was that busy stuffing her face with treats. You can see it says with a furry / fairy visitor. So it's saying, I think you're saying furry, but you might not be. And if you're not, you might be saying fairy. That's what it's doing, which is quite cool. That is pretty decent, that. As I zoom in, so I'm going to attempt to zoom in. It could die a death if I do that, but I am going to zoom in. As I'm zooming in, you can actually see that the hello, how are we all doing, that is that bit there. Another busy week, so quickly, let's get back to last Saturday. This is coming back to me now. I remember saying all of this, but that is how it manages it. So here it's got priorities A or priorities hey, and it's even got another one, 3. It's given us 3 for that. So it gives you the alternatives. You are able to edit that. So if what I wanted was actually a transcription of this, so it's edited. I don't need to use this to edit it, but I could if I needed to. What I can do in the speech is save the recognised text script. So while this is in here, that's great. But if I wanted to put a transcript on the website, I could save it in here. So you can see I've already done this once. We'll put this on the night. And it was a text file, so we'll make it a text file. There we go. And it opens it up for you. The yellow stuff is saying this might be right, might not be right. Now, some things here, let's zoom in a bit. So we've got with a fairy visitor, and it's putting it in brackets. It's got Fox with a capital F and a lower f. It's got Wiley and Wildly. As you go through it, there was some bit down there. It did pretty well. I mean, fisticuffs, it understood. It understood long room, but it didn't know whether long room was 1 word or 2, which is pretty good. So it wouldn't take me that long to go through here. This bit where I talk about prime ministers, again, it's offering me here, do you want this uppercase or lowercase? The bits that are in white are for you to look at. Everything else it thinks is okay. So I could actually take that and just deal with the white stuff. So I'm feeling or I'm filling or filing, blah, blah, blah. So it is feeling. That's totally right. But that is what it can do for you. Now you can also, if you have the script and an audio file, instead of doing what I did, which was take the script out of the audio file, you can actually load it in. So if we close that and we go back to speech, you could load a text script either from a file or from a clipboard if you wanted to do that. You also have options in here while you're actually recording for it to recognise the speech as you go. And if you have a file that needs editing and it's not in English, you can change the recognition language as well. Now, I don't have a full list of recognition languages, but because it's hooking in to the macOS system, if it's supported by macOS, it should be supported by TwistedWave. And as I said, the good thing about this is, in terms of privacy, it's not leaving your machine. Another good reason with that, in terms of not leaving your machine, is if you are out and you do not have internet access, you are still able to do this. I haven't done much in the way of editing it, and for some reason, this was working in rehearsal. I blame you, for mentioning it. I can't hear what it's playing, so I can't really do an edit. But basically, let's go back to the beginning of it. And where it says, hello, how are we all doing? I should be able, if I wanted to get rid of that there. So I've no idea what that bit is, but I will show you here. That is the bite at the end of the titles. And that is me saying, hello, how are we all doing? Which I'll play for you. Hello! How are we all doing? Hopefully that's exactly what that said. Now, if I wanted to remove that, then I can just delete it. So when I said I would show you an audio edit and how you can re-edit and edit, when you've done that, it's deleted it and it's closed the gap. But we have here these arrows, and this means we can edit the edit. So if I wanted the last word bringing back in, I can do that. And I can carry on doing that. I can edit it to take out that breath. That's why we use TwistedWave. This ability with the text transcription is just on top of everything else. The ability to edit and edit is such a time saver. Obviously, I need to go back and play the edit. So if we listen to the bite. Another busy week here. I have no idea what that sounds like, but you can see there's a bit missing now because we've edited it. But if I wanted to bring in that breath, because it sounds odd without one, I can edit it and test that. Another busy week. And I can carry on doing that. And it isn't just taking away this side of it or adding back from that side of it. If I think that's okay, but I don't want that bite at the end, I can also edit the left-hand side of it. And what's happening is it's previewing that edit, but if you wanted to bring the whole thing back, you could. And just do that and the whole thing is back there. So that's why we use TwistedWave, but the transcription side of it is pretty cool. So do we have any questions on that?
We don't.
Is it worth the money? Well, TwistedWave itself is worth the money for us. If you don't want the speech and the video, I'll show you the video next week, but if you don't want the speech and the video, you could keep using the version you've got until a certain point. But eventually, the OS will stop supporting the version that you've got. The standard price for that, was it? Oh, it was a weird price thing. It was something like 96 for the first year, $96, and then it went down to 70 odd, and then it went down to 50 odd in your third year, and from your third year onwards you have the full discount. If you already have a version of TwistedWave, and obviously we did, but it was from 2013, you go straight to the year 3 discount level, and that was why we went for it. We do use that. We use 2 audio editors. One is TwistedWave and the other is Hindenburg. If you're wondering why we use 2, TwistedWave is only a single track editor. So it has the left and the right of a stereo recording. So you might say, no, there's 2 tracks. No, that's 1 track. One is the left side, one is the right. Hindenburg is a multi-track editor. So I would use this when I'm doing a video. If we were doing MacBites, we would need multiple tracks. There would be me, Mike, Siri, Lady Siri, and sometimes the A-Lady. So we would need multiple tracks. You could not do that in TwistedWave. But to edit a single track, and now to edit video, we would probably do that in TwistedWave. So if there are no questions, I will move on from that. Right, let's lose that. No, we don't want that. I've changed my mind. Don't save it. Just close it down. Right, there we go.
Oh, we have a question.
Oh, okay, we've got a question.
It's from Tony. Does that sound edit transfer over to the video at the same time?
Yes, it does. So I will show you that next week, but yes, it does. Okay, freebies. We have freebies. I thought these were quite useful. I'll probably use these at some point. They are time management illustrations in Vector. So they work perfectly in all of the Affinity apps, and there's 13 of them all together. So when I'm talking about para and code and time management and GTD, you'll probably see these again. But do feel free to go find them. Right, Obsidian, the Kanban bookmark system. Right, this, a while back, we discussed Vivaldi, and Vivaldi had added workspaces. Oh, they're a game changer. If you've not tried them, you need to try them. Total and utter game changer. But what I noticed was, once I'd got used to the workspaces, when I was working in Obsidian and I needed to go to certain places, it's like, oh, I've got to go to the right workspace. So I pondered, and I pondered what I could do about that. Now, we've already looked at the Kanban plugin for Obsidian, but this time I'm looking at it in relation to making a bookmark system. So let's go and have a look at that. So let's open up Obsidian. Wrong screen, but never mind. Right, I'm using my own Vault, which is why I have a note that says random notes, because you do not want to see all of my notes, trust me on that. Right, what I would like to do, obviously I can open up more of these, so I could add more notes. And you see they appear next to each other. Usually when I'm splitting the window, I do like them next to each other. But what we're doing this time is we're creating a special kind of note, which is the Kanban. So if we go in here and we look at the community plugins, Kanban, this is the one that we're looking at. So I don't think I changed anything in here at all. There are lots of settings, but I did not change anything. So in the community plugins, if we have a look at it, Kanban. No, I don't need to search there. The operator error. Hang on. Browse. That's what I want. Right. You can see I've got 2 of these installed, but this is the one from MG Myers, which is, it allows you to create Kanban boards, including images if you want, in a kind of Notion-esque way. So it's already installed. If yours is not installed, you will need to install it. Once you've installed it, you don't make a new note and then think, how do I make that a Kanban? You use your quick entry and you type Kanban. And you get the option to convert an empty note to a Kanban or make a new Kanban board. So I'm going to make a new Kanban board. There is a bug in this. I think it could be, because it wasn't there before, I think it could be the fact that it's not been updated for the latest version of Obsidian. The bug is quite simple, which is there is a cancel button, but the add list option, you can't read it unless you hover over it, but it still works. So what I wanted was to replicate the workspaces that I had in Vivaldi. So my first workspace I called admin. But then I thought, that looks a bit boring, doesn't it? So I decided I would put in here emojis at the beginning of them. So admin and press enter. There is my first column. The second one would be MacBites. And the one I used for that was the orange dot. And OK. Then I would probably have ship 30. So I need my little ship. And ship 30. And second brain. So we need the brain for that one and build a second brain. And then I've got these 4 groups. Now, obviously, at the stage that we're in here, this is not useful nor usable. So all I'm going to do is move it down to the bottom. And what I did was I had it with it showing at the side. So untitled Kanban, not useful. Bookmarks. And I scooted it down a bit as well. Right. So for admin, I'm going to add a card. Now, to make this as neat and tidy as possible, so you can use it as fast as possible, I actually put the URL in there. So https://gmail.com. Enter. And it's put in the external link. Now, I think you could probably do that if we went into there. No, hang on. Let's do it this way. I'm going to put in the full address again, gmail.com. And I'm going to select it and cut it. Right. I think I can probably in here make that a multi-markdown URL and put in Gmail. Let's see if that works. There we go. So instead of it looking like a URL, we could actually go into here and delete that card. So we actually put a name in for it. How you can do that manually. So let's put the MacBites one in. So put a card title. If you're doing it manually, it's square brackets, what you want it called. So MacBites, and then round brackets, which doesn't put the last one in, and MacBites. So you put the URL in. And these are then clickable. They're indicating that they are clickable externally with the arrow at the end. So I'm not sure what the ship 31 would be. We'll make it ship 30, but it probably isn't. It's probably a circle URL. But we will put in there ship 30. Ship 30 for 30.com. Right, there we go. And whatever the second brain one will be, which should probably be similar. Now, if I wanted to add extra stuff, so obviously I've got one in there, but that's a lot of space for just that. But I can add extra cards in. So if I wanted this one to be my calendar, I could do that. I wonder what that is. Probably calendar.google.com. Close round bracket, enter, and we're done. So what I created was, while I was working, and obviously with my screen at the moment is 1920 by 1080. It's usually 4K. Or 5K. No, 4K, I think. It's 4 or 5K, one or the other. I can see a lot more of these, and I can see a lot more of my notes. But this makes it really easy. And the other thing that you can do, these are obviously all external links. Now, Obsidian doesn't exist on the web. So when I'm working and I'm in Vivaldi and I want to go somewhere, yes, I've got my web links like I've just duplicated in here. But what I don't have is a quick way to get to anything in Obsidian. But in here, I can do that just by putting in the links. So if I wanted this, let's put double brackets in. Where do you want it to go? And it's actually giving you some bookmarks that you've got. So if I wanted this to go to recordings tracker or whatever I wanted it to go to, I'm actually going to send it to tomorrow or sometime next week. Let's do the 20th. There we go. So I've put that in. You can see a list in here. 20th should be there. You'd think it'd be in order, wouldn't you? Like that. And done. So this is better if you are working with your notes in Obsidian, but you want the ability to go to an external site, that you can literally just click on these and you are good to go. It loads it in there and there it all is. And then you can move backwards. You can also, with that, hold the command key down and do that, and it opens it up separately, and then you could put that wherever. So let's put it there, and it opens up over here. I love that. I don't use it all the time. I use it when I want to be immersed in what I'm doing, because if I make the decision that I need to go look at my calendar and I go to my browser and that's not the active page, and the odds are it wouldn't be, then I'm probably looking at Twitter and thinking, what was I doing over here? So that's one way to keep focus. Another way to keep focus is with Raycast, which if I press V, because I open Vivaldi a lot, I only need to press V to make Vivaldi active. But if I've got tabs open in Vivaldi and I want to go straight to my calendar, all I actually need to do is type VIV, and then I can search the tabs. So I want to search the tabs, and it's opened up all of the tabs that I actually have open in there at the moment. So if I wanted to go to my calendar, it's now showing me, there's my calendar. I can press that or press enter and get straight to it. So that's another way to focus rather than just bringing your browser up and then tabbing around. Pretty much like you do, hey Mike? Getting a right dirty look now. No, I use either way, but if I've got a lot of things that I'm working on and I need a lot of pages, if I'm working on sort of 7 or 8 pages, I will create another column and do that. And of course, the beauty of this system, that says bookmarks, but you could create another Kanban board for project 1 and another one for project 2. And each of what is down there is all of your links, internal and external, all organised in the same area, in my case at the bottom of the screen, so I can work. If you do find that you don't need the categories, so you'd like the columns of bookmarks, but you don't particularly need the categories, you could have a longer bookmark and have that over on that side of the screen. You could even, if you wanted to, open this up and move your bookmarks into there, and they would be then down there. So you could then toggle those on and off, like I do. So you could do that as well. In this circumstance, you probably wouldn't need the Kanban aspect, just a standard page would probably do the job. But it's just thinking in terms of, you know, if you need to focus, how do you focus? How do you make it that you do have all the tabs that you would like access to quickly in your browser, but that you can get to just the one you want without being sidetracked through the 17 others? And I have fallen for the Twitter thing a million times. So that was what I was doing with them. So 2 ways to do it. Either in Obsidian with my links where I've got internal and external links, or by using the extension for Raycast, which lets me search my open tabs. It's a workflow dream. Trust me on that. So do we have any questions on that?
No.
Okay, let's get rid of that and head back in here then. So, what do we have coming up? Oh, drum roll please, Mike. It's show 200 next week. Oh, we're going to be here with you next week, show 200. So, bring your party hats and some Jaffa cakes. It's a MacBites treat, that, isn't it? That's exactly what we do. So, available on demand, we have everything else. You will find that at youtube.com/Elaine Giles. There is the After Hours playlist. There is now, or there will be when I add this one, 200 videos there. You're wondering how we've done that, aren't you? Let me help you with that. One show, the audio went weird, didn't it? We had to recut it.
Yeah.
So there's an extra show up there. But you will find that at macbites.co.uk/After Hours playlist. And of course, we love you guys and we are glad to be back with you. If you love us, give us a like. It really does make a difference with YouTube. They need to know we're back. They need to know we're actually back. So give us a like and you could subscribe. And that way you make sure that you don't miss anything. You will get a notification. Right, we also have all the stuff that I do at elainegiles.com/VIP. And we have all things MacBites at macbites.co.uk/MacBites-mail. And of course, if you want first dibs on everything, we have Slack, where we carry on the conversation. If you are not already a member, you will need to go to macbites.co.uk/join Slack. If you are already a member, you are able to log in at macbites.co.uk/Slack. We are also available on the socials, although I think the last time you saw Twitter was pre-Elon, wasn't it?
No.
Oh, no, you logged in the other week.
I've logged in.
Yeah, whoa, careful.
I tweeted.
I actually said to Mike, you know, like in terms of things you thought you would never, ever, ever, ever say. I actually said I think LinkedIn could be where it's at. This was because Twitter got a bit toxic last week. In fact, it's more toxic this week. But we are also available on Threads. Threads, that is the Facebook thing. I know. Frying pan fire. I know. But, you know, you've got to be there. So I did do that thing. I'm Elaine Giles and Mike is Thomas Mike 67 on there.
Am I?
You are.
Oh, right.
It's your Instagram name, Mike.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's me.
It's all come back to him
Yeah.
now. He was the first person I followed, but he wasn't actually there. Bless him. I know some of you have followed me, and I've followed you all back as far as I know. If I haven't, then hit me up and let me know. And if you would like to follow us, we are putting things... Well, I'm putting things on there. I don't think you've threaded yet.
I'll get around to it.
It would make more sense if we had a timeline that was our timeline. I'm seeing people that I don't know. Worse than that, I'm seeing some people that I don't want to know. I'm sure there was a Kardashian
That's how you
on
make
there.
friends.
No,
That's what
Mike.
it's all about.
These are famous people for which read degenerates. I'm not... Do you actually know of a famous person that's not up to mischief? If you're in the UK this week, you will know exactly what I mean. I'm not that famous. I'm not that famous.
I'm not that famous.
No. I didn't get my bottom out to break the internet, did I, like Kim Kardashian?
Or somebody else.
That's something that's not worth contemplating. Do not put that in as a request. It's not happening. It is not happening anytime soon. Right, so let me do magic things over here. Didn't want that to happen, but never mind. Let's do that. Right, so questions. Do we have questions?
We do have questions.
Oh, Pandemonium says, already liked and subscribed and have notifications switched on. Yay! A night, Tracy. I thought that was what you had, Paul, that Aero thing. I remember discussing it with you. There's a new version of the Linksys out, but whoa, was it expensive. I think it was on half-price sale, which was about twice the price that we paid, but it said it was the newer one. But there was only 3 in the box, so I think we've got 12, haven't we? Or 16. No, they're in 3s. No, it'd have to be 12 or 15, but whatever. They're there and they work. Thank you, Kim. Oh, Peter said the name. Oh, it's all right. It's in the public now, isn't it? Do you know, I watched a video that night. I watched a video. And this video was a recording of a live stream, and they were chatting about it. And they were at the stage. It was about 5 minutes to 6. Mike had a webinar, didn't you? And you went in about 10 to 6. So I thought I'll just put the 6 o'clock news on, see what's going on. And it all kicked off. Oh, whoa. So what happened was there was a statement from the police, then there was a statement from his wife, and then the 6 o'clock news started. Well, watching later about midnight, these guys were there with, we can't say the name, don't put the name in, don't put the name in, don't put the name in. And then somebody said, you need to check the news. He brought the news up and he went, oh my God, he's been named. And it was so funny watching it afterwards in hindsight. So what questions did we have and what did people want to know or see?
Right. Jonathan and Paul said, can we have a future show explaining the new streaming setup and workflow?
Yes, we can do that. Presupposing it works, well, so far so good with that, I would say. Let me have a look at it. Yep, everything's tickety-boo. That's quite concerning, isn't it? Yes, everything's okay with it at the moment, so yes, we can do that. But give me a couple of weeks to sort it out. It was comical that the difficult part wasn't actually the streaming software in the end. Although I did say to you, didn't I, nothing comes with a manual these days. I'm the kind of person, I am that long in the tooth, I like a manual. When I got my first version of WordPerfect for Commodore Amiga, the manual weighed about 3 stone, and I waded through it. It took me about 6 months. Oh, it was fabulous. I do love a good manual, no manuals. So you're pretty much watching videos and doing all kinds of other magic beans to try and make it work. But that was fine. But PowerPoint's lost its way. PowerPoint on the Mac is not great with 3 monitors. Well, it would be if it would just use 2 of them. But it didn't. So very bad words were said about that, weren't there?
That's a good segue.
Is it? Go on.
Yes. Because Kim wanted to know about monitors.
Oh, they're a nightmare. But I think actually it's Apple not giving you enough control and Microsoft not giving a toss about the Mac version. Because where on the Windows version, it's front and centre and you can change it. On the Mac version, you've got to find the right option, go in, and then or sacrifice the chicken to try and make it work. So I'll write something up about that as well, because I'll need to write it up for my own business. Because I'm going to forget how to do it. What'll happen is it'll settle for 6 months, and then all of a sudden, 2 minutes before showtime, it'll have the wrong slides on the wrong screen, and I'll be like, I can't remember what I did. So I'll write it up, I promise. Could I post the complete studio specs on Slack? Certainly can. What I did with it, Paul, it was fairly straightforward, if expensive. I went to the site, I put everything to the top level, apart from the hard drive. The hard drive is 2 terabytes, which is twice the size of my other one. And to me, that's enough. I mean, obviously 8 would be nice, but that needed 3 more kidneys that I didn't have. So everything is top of the range, as high as you could take it, apart from the hard drive is 2 terabytes, not 8. Oh, Mrs. Paul's having issues with Excel.
Yeah,
Ooh.
Paul, send me a DM in Slack, and I'll give you my email address if she wants to email me.
Right, I'm moving up here now. Right, well, questions. Thanks for the write-up on monitors. Yeah, monitors have been tricky because obviously this week with the Prime sale would have been a good time to look at monitors. I'll be honest with you, I did not know until this was on my desk whether I would need to order a studio monitor, an Apple thing, what they called. Is it Studio Display? The one that's $1,500, the one that Kim's got. I didn't want to. One, I don't like the look of it. It looks a little bit too industrial for my liking. But also, the price. I could have 17 monitors for that price. So I didn't really want to do that. Now, what happened last year was when Apple announced, what did they announce? Oh, the Studio. And they didn't have a 27-inch iMac. I went out and bought a 32-inch Samsung 5K monitor. We tested it. it didn't do what we wanted it to. It sat on the desk gathering dust ever since. So, obviously, first job was to get the studio, the computer, the Mac Studio, on the desk, on this Samsung monitor and see what it made of it. And it's grand. So we bought that in hand, didn't we? We've just had that sat there for 17 months. But no, that's working fine. The issue is the two side monitors. I really need those to be the same resolution. On the iMac, I could make them the same resolution with Resolutionator. On this one, not having it. But there's a whole range of things that have broken on this one. My iTV won't work anymore. So I won't be... Mind you, my iTV not working. The iTV is a physical USB device that you plug an analog aerial into and it puts a TV picture on your screen. And in the UK, yes, you do need a TV licence for that. As you need a TV licence for radio these days, don't you? Sure. It will plug in, apparently. I didn't do this myself, obviously. I read up on it. It'll plug in, apparently, but it doesn't work with Apple Silicon. And there's no way they're ever going to update the software. That meant, as I was watching all the news, because the news in the UK for the last week has just been entertainment, hasn't it? Never mind what Boris is up to, nobody cares. It's just entertainment. I did work out that I could open any streaming service in a browser, in my case, obviously, Vivaldi, and I could open it up on a separate monitor, and it remembers where it was. So actually, I'm not missing the iTV at the moment. As long as it's on BBC, I'm not missing it. I'm also using YouTube that way. So there you go. That's me future thinking. Well, I'd like to claim that, but I can't really. What we were doing with that monitor was weren't we trying it as an external monitor on your Microsoft Surface?
Yeah.
And it was a nightmare. The cable situation was hideous. On the back of the monitor, you've got two HDMI sockets, but they're not the same. You've got some mini DV in or something. Oh, there's a whole range of stuff on the back. And the cables all needed to be exactly the right cable. So cables and monitors are the bane of my life. I probably will upgrade the side monitors. But I decided not to do it this week because if I had to touch another cable, I think I would probably have fainted or worse. Less box sets. Oh no, Peter, no. If the box sets are on the BBC, I'm good to go. It also works with, so the iPlayer's working, YouTube's working, and what was the other one I tried? Oh, Amazon Prime, that's working. Because I saw something on Amazon Prime and it was Series 2. And this had been recommended to me a load of times. Let me know if you guys have seen it. It's called Good Omens. I think it's called Good Omens. It's got Michael Sheen and David Tennant in it. Well, I think I saw the first 5 minutes 4 years ago when the first season came out. And I must admit, I'm like, no, this isn't for me. Anyway, they've just released the second series, so I went back and had another look. It's not exactly laugh out loud funny, but I do think both of them are fabulous actors. So I did watch a couple of those, Peter. But yes, might be more work happening rather than watching stuff. If you're heading off, Renee, good night. Good to have you with us.
Going back to Paul's thing about his wife having issues between the differences between Mac and Windows in Excel, I was doing some training tonight, and obviously I was using the Windows version of Excel, because I always do, unless they tell me otherwise. And somebody comes on and says, my Excel doesn't look like that. Can I just share my screen for a minute? So she shares a screen, and there's the dock at the bottom. I said, oh, I didn't realise you had a Mac. I said, luckily I'm a Mac user. I said, I can't, I've got my iMac actually here right in front of me. I said, I can't share the screen because it's not logged into the Teams meeting. I said, but if you got any questions, just let me know and I'll just test it on there.
Do you know, I mean, you've had people at work, haven't you, that have said they've got Excel for Mac and they come to you to ask, how do I do X? You've said it doesn't do it and they're like, oh, well, I'll have to go back to Windows then.
Yeah, I had somebody last week on that.
And I'm like, why? Why did you want a Mac in the first place? Clearly, if you've used Windows, you're on Windows, you know Excel for Windows, do you just fancy a change?
Probably.
But you can't do that.
Because they like the logo, it's cool.
That's the problem. That's when the trouble starts.
It used to be before Timmy. BT. Before Timmy.
Yeah, before Timmy. I could literally... This is why on the Monday night, when I had to declare it dead, I was grumpy, wasn't I, Mike? Oh, poor Mike had to deal with it. On the Tuesday, I apologised for being so grumpy. But Mike said he understood, didn't you? Because all my toys were broken. I did not have a working computer. So he understood I was grumpy. But Tuesday, I was all for sticking it out and doing the Apple Care thing. And I thought, no, I can't do it. I can't send it back and then be arguing the toss for 6 months. I can't. Not without a working machine. So I'd face facts by that point that they weren't going to bring out another 27-inch iMac. And even if they did, it would probably go the way that all the other 27-inch iMacs went. So it was time for something different. But yes, as I did the thing that Paul's going to be doing, when you go and you look at it and you're specking it up and you're like, oh, ouch, that's another 500. Oh, no, that's another 1,000. And then I came to the hard drive and majorly grump. You can buy a 2 terabyte SSD for £70. And I had to add £600 to the price for another terabyte. It's obscene. Hence the picture of Timmy with me thinking about sticking pins in an effigy. It's obscene. That should not be allowed. And when you think that they're also doing things like insisting that if you want to use Service A, so books or a cloud service, the data's got to be on the main hard drive. I mean, I'm sure Microsoft... Do you remember wasn't it anti-competition or something from Microsoft?
Mm.
The investigation rumbled on for years, but to be honest, it wasn't as bad as this. It's not as bad as... Well, we'll sell them hard drives, but it'll cost $8,000. I know what we can do. Let's put all the data on the main hard drive. Yeah, just saying. Clever, aren't they? Very, very clever. Paul wishes there was feature parity in Excel between Windows and Mac. Yeah, that would be great, but I don't... Is it too difficult, Mike, or is it just not cost effective?
I don't know.
Is that a Neil Gaiman book? I believe it is. I saw his name as either producer or writer or something. It really threw me when I was watching this episode. I think it was episode 3. Like I say, I mean, it's quite a dry humour thing, but it's not exactly laugh out loud funny. But I do think they are both amazing actors. So I had it on, and each episode is about 50 minutes, 55 minutes, something like that. 28 minutes in, the title started. And I thought, has it jumped? I had to go back and check, and no, the titles were at 28 minutes in. That was how come I noticed the name. So yes, I do believe it is, apparently. So was there any other questions?
No.
Oh, we've done all the questions, have we? Excellent. Right. Well, if you've got any more questions about the Mac, let me know. I will be doing a write-up with some pickies and stuff. What I've got plugged into the back of it is the HDMI is going to the central monitor. The 2, what I call wing monitors at the sides, numbers 2 and 3, I did have those with USB cables. No, not USB, HDMI. And I had an adapter at the other end. But the problem with the adapters was they were too chunky to go behind the computer. You know, you can hide a lot behind a 27-inch iMac. You can't hide much behind this thing, trust me. So I thought they've got to go. So back to Amazon I went for more cables, and the more cables were HDMI to USB-C. So I got a couple of those and tried those. They were working great. But when I changed those, I decided to change the cable on the main monitor. And my rationale for that was, where the monitor was originally, and we were testing it with all the other equipment, the cable was like 6 to 8 foot. And I just didn't need it. It didn't need to be more than 3 to 4 foot. So I dug out this cable. And this cable, okay, I've had it a while. It had the gold-plated ends on it, and it also had a kind of ratchet on it. Did we put it down there? This cable, did we put it down there? I'm sure we did. Where have you gone?
No idea.
It's the gold one with the ratchety ends. Let me do that.
Oh, this one.
Let me have a look. That's the one. That's the one. Well, if you give it here, I can switch and we can have a look at it and you can see what I mean about this cable. So let me get it on the table. Right. There we go. Right. This is the cable. This thing. Let's move this back so we can see it. So gold end on it, but it also has this ratchet thing where you can turn it round. So it flips 90 degrees and stuff. That's the idea. And it turns that way, I think. It's on a ratchet. There we go. It ratchets. So I'd kept this cable for a long time, thinking, oh, this is a really good cable. And it was a really good cable. So I gets it plugged in. And it worked, and it was easy to hide. Night, Tony. So all was well until the monitor started flickering, and it was so intermittent. It was like, is it me touching the table or what? Is the cable not in properly? In the meantime, I needed to get another cable, which meant I was going behind there again. So I decided I would order a cable. But in the meantime, I realised that this Samsung monitor isn't a 4K monitor, it's a 5K monitor. The cable, I figured, could be a 4K cable. So then I needed an 8K cable. So back to Amazon I go. You can see what's going on here. So I heads back and I get this 10K cable that was also 3.5 to 4 feet long. Night, Carol. And what I did with it, I put that one in and it's been fine ever since. So if you've got a flickering monitor, it's probably the cable. You can't skimp on the cables. You got to spend money now. Right, so if we've got no more questions, I've got to work out how to stop this stream now, haven't I? Yeah, it was all right starting it and everything, but you know, like, that happened once with my mum. My mum wanted a moped, which is like a small motorbike, and she gets one. She had no idea how to drive it. And my dad said, I'll teach you. So he gets her going and shows her like the handles and the throttle and the pedals and everything. And off she goes. He'd not told her how to stop. So she had no idea where the brakes were. She ended up wrapping it around a lamppost. And you know my dad, he was laughing like a hyena. Oh, he didn't do that again, let's just say so. So I've actually here got no idea how to finish it, but we'll work it out. But I can say for the moment, until next time, party time, don't forget, don't miss it, next week, episode 200. It's good night from me.
And good night from me.
And we will both see you next time. Stay safe, guys.